Greetings, everyone. Oh yes. Oh yes. I've made a few videos on Medjugorje on this channel. In fact, one of the ones I made was the most popular video I have on this channel, when I was kind of questioning if Mirjana, one of the alleged visionaries, had perhaps changed her story. And actually, in the comments underneath that video, I think maybe they were underneath that one, maybe there was some underneath one of the others as well. There was the suggestion that I actually read Mirjana's book. And I was told if you read her book, you will realize she's telling the truth. Now, I didn't really want to do that because I'm thinking, look, if she isn't telling the truth, if she's a fraud, and this apparition hasn't been approved by the church at the moment, and I don't really want to give her money by buying her book if she's basically conning the faithful. But in the end, curiosity got the better of me, and I did buy her book. There it is, My Heart Will Triumph by Mirjana Soldo. And I actually had a look at the back of the book at the beginning, and it did say, or it does say at the back, that a portion of the proceeds from the My Heart Will Triumph book supports Mary's Meals, a charity that feeds more than 1 million children in schools around the world. So that's good. So at least some of this money's going to the charity that helps feed children. But I've read the book and I want to do a little review of it. I'm going to begin with 3 points in the book that made me go, I'm not saying that these things cause any major doubts to what Mirjana's saying, or that they are showing that something isn't right. They're just things that make me go, So the first thing is that she mentions when the Blessed Mother prays, or prayed, with all the alleged visionaries. I'm not going to keep saying alleged, but they are officially alleged visionaries because it hasn't been church approved. So when the Blessed Mother prayed with them, she didn't pray the Hail Mary, they said, because she wouldn't pray to herself, but she did pray the Our Father. Now, in a video that I made previously, that should come up on this side now, should be there, if you want to have a look at it, more or less there somewhere. I actually talked about how Mary prays the Rosary, because in a book I was reading that had some quotes in it from what Saint Bernadette of Lourdes was saying during her interviews with priests. She stated that when the Blessed Mother prayed the Rosary with her, she didn't pray the Our Father. She didn't pray the Hail Mary or the Our Father. She prayed the Glory Be. And as Bernadette prayed the Our Father and the Hail Mary, the Blessed Mother just looked at her, smiled at her sweetly. But here we have Mirjana saying that she did pray the Our Father with them. Now in the previous book, in the other book that I was talking about in the other video, the explanation as to why the Blessed Mother wouldn't pray the Our Father is because it doesn't apply to her. There are sentences in that prayer where you talk about, give us this day our daily bread, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. None of that really applies to the Blessed Mother anymore. She isn't an earthly being now. And yet here, Mirjana says that she did pray the Our Father. So that made me go, Now there could be an explanation for that. It could be that maybe Mary prayed the first half of the Our Father with them, that I think she could pray, because Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. All those things she could say. So maybe she prayed the first half with them, and then the second half she just kind of watched them and had her hands together and smiled at them. Or maybe she did pray the whole prayer with them, and she just kind of did it so she could join in prayer with them, Doesn't mean that she's asking for daily bread or to forgive her trespasses, but she just prayed it along with them. I don't know. But it's something that got my attention. So that's one. That's the first one. The second thing was that there were a few instances where Mirjana talks about conversations that took place which she wasn't involved in. And yet she recites the whole conversation. For example, one of those is when I think her lecturer, her teacher, who was in the Communist Party, she was basically kind of told by the authorities that she's going to have to fail Mirjana. But she didn't really want to do that because she knew Mirjana was a good student. So then later when she was at home talking about it with her daughter, I think, she was kind of getting her opinion on what she should do. And Mirjana relates that whole conversation that she had with her daughter, even though she wasn't there for that conversation. And then there's another instance where this wasn't a conversation, but Father Yozo, I think, there was a time where she says he locked the church for a while, and he was inside the church by himself, and he was looking through the Bible, and he read a certain passage in the Bible, and he prayed a certain prayer to God, asking him for various things, and she says all that stuff that he did in there, but he was on his own in the church. So that made me go, how do you know all this? But again, it could be explained because she's writing the book, so maybe she actually got in touch with these people, and then in the more research for her book, so she could put more detail in it, they told her what happened. The priest told her what he did when he was in that church, and the lecturer maybe told her the conversation she had with her daughter. So neither of those are like deal breakers or anything, but they just made me think. The third point, and this is the one that I find the most troubling, you could say, is that a couple of times in the book, Mirjana says, she talks about the secrets, and she talks about how she may not even have to be alive when they get revealed. In one area, she says perhaps the reason that she was given the parchment with the 10 secrets on it that she keeps somewhere was precisely because she might not be the one who reveals them, and even if she dies, the parchment will still be there and they can still be revealed. That, to me, doesn't make much sense, because if the Blessed Mother is seeing her, if she's seeing the Blessed Mother constantly, and Mary has told her, here's some secrets, she's given her the secrets, and she said to her that in time you'll reveal them, you'll choose a priest to reveal them to, and then that priest will announce them. Why would she do all that if Mirjana then just goes and dies? It would suggest that God has changed his plan, or he's decided, actually, no, Mirjana isn't going to reveal them. I can't see how she would be entrusted with all this and asked to choose a priest to tell them to, and then just die and not do any of that. So it's slightly surprising to me that Mirjana is saying in the book that maybe she won't be the one that reveals them, because it kind of everything points to that she's meant to be the one to reveal them. That's why she received the parchment with the 10 secrets. So those are the three things. And the third one is the most confusing one to me. The first two I think you can explain in some way. The third one is I just don't understand why Mirjana's saying that. But, people might see those as very nitpicky points. As for the book in general, I think it's a wonderfully written book. It really is. And I can see why people say, or have told me, have written in the comments, that if you read this, you'll see she isn't lying. It really does suggest she isn't lying. It's so nicely, beautifully written. The way she talks about God and Mary and Jesus, and it would be so hard to believe that she's that much of a fraud. I don't think she is. I think she's telling the truth. It really gives you the impression that she's telling the truth. She talks a lot about what she had to go through and how she was persecuted, and how the authorities that were communist were just being horrible to them and trying to make her life a misery and taking them in for interrogations. It's really interesting. And then in there she also, from time to time, or quite often actually, will talk about the messages and how she feels when she gets them and all these things. It's a really interesting read. I really do recommend it, to be honest. And I'll read to you, actually, in terms of her talking about, she actually refers to the fact that some people think she's lying and making this up. And she has this to say about that accusation. She says, in chapter 29, it's near the end of the book has 33 chapters, she says, "In the early days, I was deeply hurt whenever someone accused me of making everything up. I always wanted to ask them, why would I invent such a lie? What would I gain by lying? I would have to be an extremely troubled person to lie about such a thing, especially during communist times. Before the apparitions, I had a beautiful life. I lived with parents who cherished me, and I went to one of the best schools in Sarajevo. Why would I want to turn my life upside down? Why bring turmoil and agony into an otherwise pleasant situation? Only an unstable person would do that. But I was not the only one. There were 6 of us, including a 10-year-old boy who much preferred playing soccer over praying. These days I only feel sorry for those who can't see that Our Lady has been offering her hand for all these years to lead them to salvation, and I pray for them. A just person never makes conclusions about someone they do not personally know. Only if you know me, if you have talked with me, can you form an intelligent opinion about who I am and what I claim." So she really does say there, look, I wouldn't make such a thing up. And actually earlier in the book, she does talk about how religious her grandmother was and her parents. And she just wouldn't dare make something up about something so serious. So honestly, I read the book and I was thinking to myself, despite the few points where I went, I was thinking to myself, I think this is genuine. And it's a very good book. I'm glad I bought it. And I do recommend it. So there's my opinion. I'm giving it a good review. I don't want to go too much into the detail of what's in there because, buy the book if you want to read it. But it is a good book. I'm giving it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. See you again soon.